And for more on this, we're now being joined by Dr. Avner Cohen, who is a professor of non-proliferation and terrorism studies at the Middlebury Institute. Dr. Cohen is joining us live from California. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Dr. Cohen. I want to first start by asking you that your assessment of how important is the US-Saudi deal in bringing peace in West Asia, or perhaps can the deal bring an end to the war in Gaza?
It's very important. It will be a major stage in the acceptance of Israel by the Arab world. Saudi Arabia represents perhaps the most prominent state, the rising giant in the Arab world, definitely the largest in terms of territory, in terms of land, and acceptance, and of course the home of all the holy sites of the Islam. So acceptance by Saudi Arabia and creating normalization, if not formal peace, is very, very important. And it's Israeli interest as well as Saudi interest. As you know, the Saudis insist that will be conditioned by Israeli agreement to the creation over time of a Palestinian state. And I believe that should be an interest of Israel as well. You're right. Currently, Prime Minister Netanyahu refused to do that. Whether a language can be found that would talk about some kind of autonomy in Gaza that would allow in a future point to vote in favor of union with the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, all kind of possibilities are being looked at. But in principle, I think it's very much an Israeli interest, and Israel should pursue that.
Right, Dr. Cohen, you speak of acceptance by, of course, Saudi Arabia and Israel. Just to follow up on that, the White House has made Israeli-Saudi normalization central to its Middle East policy. And recently, the White House has been very clear in saying that the White House will not sign a defense agreement with Saudi Arabia if the kingdom and Israel do not normalize ties. And like you mentioned, we've seen Netanyahu against a pathway to Palestinian statehood, while Saudi Arabia believes that Palestinian statehood is a reasonable price for Israel to pay for normalization of ties. How do you see the pact coming to fruition or completion in such a backdrop?
Well, I think that many should keep in mind that the presence of the Netanyahu leadership in Israel is going to be short-lived. It's the view of everybody except essentially in Israel is that the days of Netanyahu's government are numbers. Whether it will be weeks or possibly a few months, it's numbers. Therefore, I think the issue is to find a language that would allow to sign it right now, to make a deal that would be able to be enhanced and to be expanded and to be more explicit by whoever is going to replace Netanyahu. I think that Netanyahu is now very much struggling for his own survival, for his own coalition, for his own personal fate. And the fact that he takes to be his own politics and his own personally survival over the interests of the state, it's very, very unfortunate. But everybody in the region, as well as in the United States, understand that situation. So I think the challenge is to find a language that would allow even Netanyahu to sign something like that, realizing that the next phase will be done by people who are going to replace him, and he's going to be replaced very, very soon. Most Israelis do not want, even in the right, do not want to see him as the leader of the country.
Right, Dr. Cohen, thank you so much for taking our time and joining us here on WION with your insights.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.